Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I'm your host, David Streggy, and I'd like to put out another review out there about a film that I've been obsessed with for the last, say, 18 hours since I got the new Indicator 2 Blu-ray limited to only 10,000. Working with Powerhouse Productions in the UK, along with Columbia Pictures here. As you can see, it says it is a limited number out of 10,000, and it says here in very shaded print, I've got number 5,637. So I just wanted to show you this. It's got that little flip thing. It's only taped on the back, but that's some really cool art there. And I'm going to take some of this stuff out. And this is going to be the first part of this review. I just wanted to show this edition because this is a very beautiful set. Comes with this double-sided, oh, that's upside down. Double-sided poster, and that is very cool art. I mean, that's the demon in full, capacity of what it is. And on the other side, we've got the Curse of the Demon side. So we've got the two titles here for this film. The original title is Night of the Demons, and the U.S. Title that they eventually became the movie was Curse of the Demon, which was apparently an 82-minute cut by director Jacques Tourneur, who is also the director of Val Lewton's The Cat People, The Leopard Man, and one more, I believe, I believe it was I Walked with a Zombie. And he later eventually went on to direct The Fear Makers, which eventually I'll probably pick up so that I can review. But this is a story. This is one of the first British films that I would have to say had anything to do with a satanic cult of any kind, and started somewhat of the gothic horror film making. I believe Hammer took up the rest of the reins in that favor. So we have a skeptist of the paranormal in a character that is played by Dana Andrews, and he plays a character that he doesn't believe anything. He is on his. Actually, in the very beginning of this film, we have a Professor Harrington who has come to the house of a Dr. Carswell to relay to him a message that he apologizes for, and he'll stop some kind of investigation. And unfortunately, there's not much that the doctor can do for him, and so the demon does in fact attack and kill this Professor Harrington character, who is played by Maurice Denham. This film is actually based on a story that was written by M.R. James, also known as Montag, um, and the story was called Casting the Runes. And so this was probably the first film adaptation of any of his stories. The screenplay was written by Charles Bennett and Hal E. Chester. Charles Bennett was involved in working with several of the Irwin Allen productions, meaning The Lost World and the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, 5 Weeks in a Balloon, City in the Sea, that type of thing. Much later on, but we also have him working with some earlier Hitchcockian films, at least as a writer, like Blackmail, and later on the 39 Steps, the adaptation for that, Sabotage, I believe Secret Agent, Young and Innocent, and so on and so forth. He also worked on Climax a little bit, and The Man Who Knew Too Much. So we have him and his background. The other man who helped write the screenplay for this film ended up being a producer for School for Scoundrels, and he was also a producer behind The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, but he was an actor in many earlier films in the 1940s, among them being Sea Raiders, Hit the Road, Junior G-Man, Boys of the City, You're Not So Tough. He played Fred Dutch with the East Side Kids, which also were the Bowery Boys. So you had these three men working together on this film together. So that kind of impressed me. So the other thing that I wanted to show in this particular collection was this this booklet. Just give me a sec here. So apparently this came with a booklet. Here's the front. Here's the back. It's got some very cool. I'm just gonna do a slow flip through. Very cool, cool book for the release, and I'm just going to show you the inside of this thing. This thing was monstrous for being a 2-disc Blu-ray. I'm not a fan of Blu-ray. See, for many years, my fiance has actually had a Blu-ray player, and finally, I just recently got an Xbox. So that I can actually have a Blu-ray player. I prefer DVD because I don't really see a difference in it. Like say you put 4K or 2K on a DVD, you can't really see the difference between a Blu-ray and a DVD in the same format. You just have to have people buying that format in order for them to. That's why people are and directors are starting to go to Blu-ray, because apparently Blu-ray is in fashion and DVD is going out of style. But I prefer DVD still. I hope it still it keeps being sold, and that's kind of cool. Cool that it. I believe that this is a flip slip or whatnot. That's and then you got the two Blu-rays, like one in front and one behind, so on and so forth. So I'm fairly happy with this particular copy. I'm definitely happy that it is all region, even though this is a UK company. Like I said, it's called Indicator, and it's sold through Powerhouse dot org or whatnot in the UK, and evidently you can buy it in pounds. I bought this off of Diabolic, so I was fairly impressed with the artwork and all that jazz. So I've just been ecstatic just watching this film. I mean, you've got this ultimately creature with a claw, and it comes in a fog of smoke, and it's basically a hex against, you know, people involved with this cult, which is run by Carswell, but even he is fearful of something, fearful of losing his life to the same demon in which he tries to control. And so this skeptic gets hexed, and he ends up running into Joanna Harrington, played by Peggy Cummings. It's very beautiful. Beautiful. You kind of have to have a love interest. Originally, in the Casting of the Runes story, it was supposed to be the brother of Professor Harrington, but in order to make it this Hollywood, they instead had the brother be a female. So ultimately, I like the way that Peggy Cummins as an actress kind of holds John Holden, played by Dana Andrews, at bay when he ultimately wants to have dinner with her, and he comes on to her, and she's just always the intelligent one, trying to, but in a sense, they begin some kind of a romance, and through all of this, and having to deal with, on the other hand, there was a man who was local, who evidently was marked as being chosen for the demon, where they took him and experimented some hypnosis on this man, and I believe he was Rand Hobart. Well, Hobart, I think that was a very emotional part, where they injected him with some kind of serum that awakened him from his catatonic state. And when he jumped into the crowd, the first time I saw this several years back, my heart took a leap. So I love that there's some kind of suspense going on in this film, and I don't want to tell everything, but there's a sense of doom throughout this whole film, and a haunting that kind of takes a shape in the form of suggestion, and that's what I love about this film, and the fact that, you know, it's kind of like be careful what you wish for, kind of a message. And I know that in the original script, there was a part where he was pulling rabbits out of Carswell was playing the part of a magician for some kids. And supposedly in the original script, he had come up with or came up with puppies that came out of the hat. Well, originally they were supposed to come up with snakes, and the UK censors were against, you know, scaring the kids like that, and so I like how that very subtly was put in more into the game Snakes Ladders, which came about that line that he always likes sliding down the snake. um, but my favorite line in this film is well, my favorite friends are ghosts, which is um, well, some of my favorite friends are ghosts, and that was my favorite line from the film. So, in any case, hopefully you enjoyed my description of this film. Like and subscribe to my page if you have not. Definitely check out some of my other reviews. I love the acting in here. There's not really much that I could say that I didn't like. So I liked the power of suggestion, the sense of doom. So I think that I've said too much already. So in any case, hopefully you've enjoyed my description. Thank you. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Appreciate the listening in, and check out some of my awesome reviews, and check out some cool reviews in the future. Appreciate it.